This is Patrick Driggett of the Berlin Fire, and this is the BS of the Week, episode 6. We're on our second episode talking about the draft preview. Today, we're going to be talking about the defense and a little bit of special teams. We're joined again by some awesome guests. We appreciate them coming back from last week from an awesome episode, and we're excited to continue forward. And I'm joined by my friends.
Kevin Lucy from the Glasgow Rushmores.
Tad Hastings from the CSU 66ers.
Ed Duggan from the Kano Sharks.
And Chris Weeks from the Santa Rosa Chargers.
Awesome. Thank you for coming back. Really appreciate the insights you all had. That was a great show. I was really excited to have it. I'm excited to hear what we have for this week. Kevin, why don't you let us know what's going on in the Big Sky with our defense?
Okay, thanks, Patrick. Well, last week, what we had is we looked at how to determine whether it was a good offensive draft or not. And what we did is we found out that we had 14 short pass specialists, we had 8 long pass specialists, 11 run line, and 7 run flat. So what we need to do when we're looking at the defense is we need to keep those numbers in mind. And what we need to look at is the different defensive formations that teams displayed when we're looking at the Big Sky. Last season, we had somewhere over 22,000 downs, all told. And of those 22,000 downs, nearly half of them, the defense was sitting in a 4-3 formation. The exact figure is 10,300 were 4-3 formation. The next most popular was about half as popular. In other words, 4,700 downs, we had a 3-3 formation. Coming shortly after that, we had a 3-4 formation and then a 4-4 formation. Okay, so basically the most popular formation for our defenses was 4-3. Now here on BS of the Week, we don't like to spoon feed you, but we do like to get the old grey cells working a bit. So armed with the information that 14 teams were short passing, and 2/3 of the downs that we had only one linebacker in place, then you can all take a guess at what positions might be important in this draft, and not only what position, but what QST people might be looking for. Now, the thing that I love about Gridiron is that it's a bit like an Agatha Christie novel. It's full of twists and turns, because not only should the defensive coordinators be looking at the draft for defense, but so should the offensive coordinators. Because let's face it, if hypothetically there are no quick cornerbacks or no quick free safeties in this draft, is it worth your offensive coordinator moving away from long pass? Or is this the wrong season to do it? I'll leave you with that conundrum, and we're going to find out a little bit more about the linebacker situation by passing over to Chris.
Thanks, Kev. Well, basically, you've sort of hinted at it. The most interesting part for me personally is the inside linebacker. It's a position I'm personally struggling at, and I'm sure there are lots of people out there who are looking intently at the inside backers. Unfortunately, there aren't many there. The top 2 inside backers, 1 and 2, are both level 7. The interesting one is a guy called Freitas, inside backer 1. And he's interesting because he's a quality player, but he has resilience and leader bonuses. The other guy has neither of those, IB2. Then after that at inside backer, the next most interesting guy is IB5, a guy called Corona, who's level 6 and he's 65 tech. But he is quality, and he does have a leader bonus, which again makes him more attractive. The rest of the class, there's not a lot there, to be perfectly honest. You got a couple of guys with strength, 70s and 80s, but in terms of the class itself, it's very, very weak. That is completely different to the outside linebacker class. So if you're looking for help at outside backer, well, this is definitely the class for you, because the leading 2, 1 and 2, are both level 9. very good QST on both. Then you've got OB3, who's level 8 and has got 70 strength. So if you want to match up against a tight end, perfect. But then it gets interesting because OB4, Mossman, is probably the most attractive of all of them. He's level 8, he's quality, 65 strength, and he's got a resilience bonus. After that, you've got 2 guys who are level 6. OB5 is a guy called Griner, again 65 strength, but he is elite. Yeah, so you've got all that coaching to get on with. Yeah, and he offers, for all he's only level 6, he offers a lot more because obviously he's elite and can be coached up higher. He is also a monster hitter. Then after that, we have OB8, an aptly named guy called Spitfire. Again, his quality, but the most attractive part is his speed. His quickness is 75. So if you want to bring somebody on an outside blitz, Spitfire is the guy you're going to be looking for. And that pretty much sums up the linebackers. So it's over to Ben in the secondary.
Yeah, star player in the secondary. For safeties, SF2, a guy called Pigeon Bird, love that name. Level 8, 60 technical and quality. And as Kevin pointed out earlier, could the short zone defense be in demand? I think so. So this guy's going to be great at helping with that short zone. Admittedly, safety 1 is the same QSTs. He's level 9, but not quality. So I like that quality attribute there. It's a quality status there. And he's not from a college. So that's a personal superstition of mine. I always pick a player that comes from a college and has got a name. That's just a superstition. To be honest, that quality on Pigeon Bird effectively makes him level 9, really, with the extra level bonus you get in coaching. So yeah, I would definitely look at him. I'd also look at safety 3, level 8, just a journeyman, but he's 55 strength. So, really powerful at stopping the run. As we very well know, there's quite a few strong, dominant run teams in the Big Sky. So he could be a great tool to stop that. In terms of your cornerbacks, it's a little bit peculiar. The elite and quality players are all levels 9 and 7, but the QSTs are a little bit everywhere, really. They're 60 and 65s on some of those important stats. I've always leaned towards picking a high QST player on one particular skill to be brilliant at something rather than mixed and be okay at everything. But that being said, I would keep an eye out for cornerback 4, a guy called Robbie Chatwin. He'll probably get taken very early on, 60 quick, 40 technical, but he is elite, and the elite will go early on. You could try and stick him on that development squad and try and bump him up to the 75, 70 quickness maybe. I've done that before with some success, so I know it's possible. Or if worse comes to worse, he could be a good nickel player and just sort of hang around there and work for you in the backfield. And that is it from me. And I believe it's over to Tad to talk about special teams.
If you're looking for a special teams guy, you cannot go wrong with returner number 1. He's level 9, and he's the fastest you can possibly get for returner. He's 80-20. So if you need a returner, you cannot go wrong with him. With a caveat for that, a lot of people, they kind of don't pay attention to special teams. I'm not saying go all out on special teams, but you need to start paying attention to special teams, because that's where you're getting your nickel and diming stuff to help you out throughout the game. So if you look at the rule books at page 10, PDF page 104, there's a list there and it tells you who are the best players to put on your special team. So as you're going through the draft later on, when you start getting those really bad QST people, you can start looking at, hey, this guy's pretty higher level. Don't worry about the QST. Look at the position and start drafting them in for your special teams. Now, a lot of people don't like doing that because then they leave better players on the field. So as a coach, you have to look at, do I want to look at special teams? Do I want to look at the holes? But at very least, look at your special teams, go through the rule books on page 104 and try to find out who you can best do to backfill and take care of your special teams. And with that.
Okay, so if we look at defensive tackles, if you're short of a strong 35 65-0 defensive tackle, then this is the draw for you, because there are 7 of them, all with perfect QSTs, and they range from level 8 right down to level 3. So you should be able to find a strong defensive tackle. Likewise, if you're looking for a quick right end, then basically you're going to be looking at a 65-35, and there's 6 of these in the draft, again with perfect QSTs ranging from level 7 right down to level 5. The big problem that you've got with this draft in terms of the defensive ends is your left end. If you're looking for a strong left end, someone to stop the run that we've been talking about there, somebody like a 35-65-0, then you're out of luck. Basically, there is one only in the draft, and he is DE1, and I reckon he will go very, very early on. So he would be my top pick as DE1. The other one I'd ask you to look at is the one that Tad mentioned last week, which is actually, in fact, offensive tackle 6, who doubles up as a defensive end as well. So those are my 2 picks. So handing back over to Chris.
Okay, thank you, Kev. Right, sleeper pick then for linebacker is an inside linebacker, and I'm not sure if his name is Montana Kiki or Kiki Montana, but he's only level 4, but he's quality and he's got a travel bonus. So he's worth having a look at if he happens to be there in one of your later picks. And I'll hand back to Benjamin.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Looking at the sleeper picks in the secondary, to be honest, in the safeties side of thing, once you get past safety number 4, the standard sort of drops off really. There's safety number 12, Mortensen. He's a 55 technical quality player. So if you missed out on Pigeon Bird early on, you might be able to pick this guy up a little bit later on, round 4, round 5. You might have picked yourself up a bargain. But again, it's only if you need him, only if you're looking at defending that short zone. But in the cornerbacks, holy cow. Okay, this is where it gets very, very interesting. The QSTs on a lot of these players are just all over the place. It's like somebody shoved them in a tombola, spun them around, it just threw numbers everywhere. The one thing I want to really look at is there are 4 cornerbacks in the draft with non-zero strength, and all of them are 75 plus on one of the remaining stats, quickness or technical. I'm going to disregard cornerback 3, who is 80 technical, but I don't know anything about short zone defense. So someone might remember that this season and remember to use that against me. But there are 3 cornerbacks in the draft with 75 or 80 quickness and 5 or 10 strength. So if you want to shut down deep zone wide receivers, which are really powerful at the moment, then this is where you do it. For me, my sleeper pick is CB9, level 7, 80 quickness, 10 strength, 10 technical. I mean, if you get this guy, coach him up, stick him in man-to-man with any deep zone wide receiver, that's it. That match is over for them. And people sort of ask, like, how do you, like one of the questions is, how do you beat the rivets? I think it's things like this, these little niche bonuses in the game that I don't think you can really plan against. Like I say, if you're a really powerful deep zone team, you're probably not going to have sort of a short zone option, or it's really unlikely anyway. I mean, everybody knows the Sharks are a deep zone team. Lundy was the top receiver last season. I'll be honest with you, we don't have a short zone that we can fall back on. So if you picked up this cornerback, CB9, and stuck him against Lundy in the wide receiver, we've got no options. And, you know, with the likes of the Rivets, you know, if you could get a defensive end to perhaps pressure QB Harris and then put a strong, quick cornerback on WR Ruggs the third. I'm sure Conrad should have told us what it actually was. You know, those 200-300 yards that he's getting in a game and like 2 or 3 or 4 touchdowns, they start coming down. Then you've sort of got the rest of your defense to pick up the other wide receivers, tight ends, and then focus on that run game, stop Emu on the run. So, this strength attribute for cornerbacks could be really powerful in the upcoming season. So keep an eye out for that. And with that, I am going to pass on over to Kevin to look at his sleeper picks on the defensive line.
Okay, thanks, Benjamin. Okay, sleeper picks for the defensive line. Well, again, the defensive line is probably one of the stronger areas at the moment in this draft, I believe. You've got some strong defensive tackles. You've got some quick defensive ends. Sometimes I notice that teams that play a four-man front sometimes like to have a defensive tackle that is also a pass rusher. And if that is your want, then basically in this draft, you've had it, because there are none. There's just the one single one who's a level 3. He's only 65, 35, 0, but he's only level 3. But he is the only defensive tackle that has got speed. And he is defensive tackle number 24. And I suspect that despite the fact he's only level 3, he might go shooting up the draft. And it might be taken well before the normal level 3s for that simple reason alone. So he would be my sleeper pick for defensive tackle. So let me hand over to Tad. Tad, what about the special teams?
I say the sleeper pick for special teams has got to be center number 2. People really don't like them, but he's level 7. His QST is 35, 45, 20. But if you're doing field goals and that kind of stuff, and last time I checked, I believe we do that kind of stuff in football and even G3 football. So by having the 20 technical in that spot, it makes the math, because obviously math runs G3, it greatly enhances like field goals and that stuff. So if you want to not miss as many field goals, these are the type of players that you want to get in your team to help out with that. And if you can get the center, you put them on the roster early, and if you get a long snapper attribute, you really hook you guys up. So that would be definitely my sleeper pick for special teams. And that pretty much wraps that up. So we can go into reminders. One of the last reminders we have is for about the next 2 weeks, we will not be doing the live video BS of the week, but there should be a few articles coming out soon. And so keep an eye out for that on the boards. Patrick?
Yeah, thank you. Great stuff. Great insights. I've added a couple of these people to my short list during the talk. So thank you so much for helping this terrible BS player. No, it was great. Thank you so much. I think also, Tad, I'm going to follow up on your reminders. Don't forget, we have coaches who need new contracts. I know that literally I only have 3 remaining, so I need to make offers on the rest, or I'm going to have a really bad time. So I'm going to do that and make sure to get my short list in. So thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. And I hope you have an awesome week. And we'll see you back here on the video here in about 3 weeks, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah, we'll skip 2 weeks. So we'll see you then after a little bit of a break. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.